Hello students. Today we started chapter 1 Indian economy on the way of independence. So in this chapter we learn about introduction, condition of the Indian economy on the way of independence on the basis of agriculture sector, which consists low level of agriculture productivity, high dependency on monsoon, lack of proper input. Second is industrial sector, which consists discriminatory traffic policy, competition from the machines, new pattern of demand, more market for British good. Third is foreign trade. Fourth, demographic condition. Fifth, occupational structure. Sixth, infrastructure. Okay. So let's start with the introduction. So economy of a country include all type of production, distribution or economic activities which are related with the peoples to determine the standard of the living. Okay, but on the way of independence, Indian economy is very bad shape due to the presence of British colonial rules, because British don't want to develop India. So the sole purpose of the British colonial rule in India was to reduce the country to being a feeder economy of a Great Britannian. Okay, so rapidly expanding modern industrialization base. So thus in 1947, when British transfer power back to India, we inherited a crippled economy because we want to more and more time to develop or to settle us in a uniform form. Okay, so at that time, on the way of independence, the Indian condition is very bad. Okay, so we can explain these condition on by separating different sectors. So first one is agriculture sector. So agriculture sector, first thing is low level of agriculture productivity. Okay, because agriculture productivity become very low, and this stagnation in agriculture sector was mainly due to the system of land settlement that were introduced by the British government. Okay, so at that time jamidari system, landlord system, all these things are occur. So the profit accruing out of the agriculture sector went to jamidar instead of the cultivator. Okay, so this lead to the discouragement amongst the cultivator to produce less product. Okay, they also British are also not make any policy or any other help about the agriculture productivity increasing. Next thing is high dependency on monsoon. We all know that the agriculture is on the way of independence or earlier time, agriculture is basically depend on the monsoon. So mainly dependency on monsoon, no effort was made ever under the British rule to develop permanent means of irrigation. That means if monsoon is come earlier, then irrigation work is done, and if monsoon is not arrive or late, then the irrigation function process is not proceed. Okay, so the next thing is lack of proper input, because there is low level of technology, lack of irrigation facility, and negligible use of fertilizer added to great plagued and the farmers and contribute to the decimal level of agriculture productivity. So the British cannot do anything for the development or for proper inputs for agriculture. So the next thing is industrial sector. The condition of industrial sector is also low. So the first thing is discriminatory traffic policies. So the British government allowed traffic free export of raw material from India and traffic free import of British industrial product into India, but a heavy duty on the export of Indian handicraft product, it lead to decay in handicraft industry in India. So basically in ancient time, mostly population is depend on the handicraft product or handicraft industrial business. So Indian citizens have getting loss due to this traffic policy of British. Next thing is competition from the machines. We all know that in ancient time handicraft is popular in India. Okay, so the product made by handmade product is having very high cost, high rate in comparison of the machine made product. Okay, so industrial revolution in Britain give a stiff competition to the handicraft industry in India. So due to the low cost and better quality product produced by the machine, forced the Indian craftsmen to shut down the handicraft industry in India. Okay, so the next thing is new pattern of demand. Okay, so by the British rule in India, a new class of peoples emerged in India. Now, because the family of the British can also become in India to set up there. So this changed the pattern of demand in India against the Indian product and in favor of British product, because the civilization is British civilization is come and set up in India. So as a result, the Indian industry tended to perish. Okay, so next thing is more market for British good. Okay, so introduction of railway facilitated that transport the British product to different part of the country. So this is so as the result, the size of market for the low cost British product expanded while the starting shrinking for the high cost Indian product. So this lead to decay in industry in the India. So the main thing is that the British is also not do anything for the Indian industrial sector. Okay, next thing is foreign trade. At the time of way of independence, the foreign trade is almost controlled under the British government. Okay, so Indian have some side effect from this trade also. So due to the discriminative traffic policy adopted by the British government, India became net exporter of raw material and primary product, but on the other hand, it became net importer for the finished good produced by the British industry, because British has sent raw material from India to British countries like to British companies like East India Company and other, and then produce final product or a final good and then send it to India and sell them in high cost. So the composition of exporter and importer show the backwardness of Indian economy. Okay, so export and import were largely restricted to Britain only due to the monopoly control of Indian foreign trade. Next thing is the surplus profit. Okay, so that made by the account of foreign trade during the British rule was distributed on administrative as well as war expensive. It cannot be transferred to the Indian administrative or Indian businessman. So it was only used for increase the pursuits of British government, not for the Indians. Next thing is demographic condition. Okay, so in demographic conditions, the birth and death rate high implemented by low survival rate. Okay, so which was nearly 8 per thousand per annum. Okay, and the life expectancy was low as 32 years, which show the lack of healthcare facilities and lack of awareness as well as lack of mean of healthcare. According to this, the literacy rate was also low. Okay, it was as just 16%. So it reflected the social and economic backwardness of the country, because if the person of a country are not literate, they are not educated, then they cannot do work for the development, for the way of improvement. Okay, next thing is occupational structure. We all know that the Indian population, mostly Indian population, is depend on agriculture. So the agriculture was a principal source of occupation. Okay, so about 72.7% of working population was engaged in agriculture. Okay, and remaining of them 10.1% of working population was engaged in manufacturing sector, that is industrial sector, okay, which show the backwardness of Indian industry at the time of way of independence. So the remaining 17.2% of the working population is engaged in third sector, that is service sector. So okay, so which proved to the slow growth of tertiary sector at the time of independence. So at that time the service sector, that means banking, insurance and other things, okay, transportation, advertisement, these things are very low condition, okay. So according to this we can say that the Indian economy is an unbalanced growth at that time, okay, at the time of way of independence. So the next thing is infrastructure. So at that time, at the time of British, little bit infrastructure development, okay, that means in some area of transport and communication only, okay. So the introduction of railway was a major breakthrough, followed by the development of some ports and the construction of some road, okay. So railway is generally used for transporting British goods and raw material from port and the other construction routes through, okay. But the main motive of the British government was to foster the interest of British government rather than the accelerate the growth of Indian economy, because they think just for development of British government, not for Indian economy, okay. So there was the transition from the barter system of exchange to monetary system of exchange, so which facilitate division of labor and large scale production, okay. So all these things are the some bases or some points through which the British government always exploit the Indian government, okay. So on the way of independence, the condition of Indian economy is very bad, okay. About all these things we learn in next chapter. I hope you all understand these things. Thank you.